it's Mr. Benicio del Toro. Benicio del Toro. Whoa. Great to have you here. I'm a big fan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get it out of your system. He's just a man the same as me. Benicio, lovely to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Del Toro, I believe, means of the bull, is that right?
Of the bull,
Of a
yeah.
literal translation.
Yeah,
That's quite something to live up to, I imagine.
Okay, yeah.
But do you find that being a Latin gentleman, and where are you from originally? Where you?
I was born in Puerto Rico, but let me tell you a story because Tom Jones is here. I grew up thinking Tom Jones was Elvis Presley. Because he went to Puerto Rico, he performed in Puerto Rico, he was very well known in Puerto Rico, and all of the women liked him, and I think my mom, one of them, liked him too. So I grew up thinking Tom Jones was Elvis Presley. And here I am, you know, I don't know, 35 years later or so, and I'm here, and there he is. I'm sitting in the red room or
with
whatever
Elvis
room
Presley.
is that.
Do you find, you know, when I told people you were on the show this week, I had just about all the females I told kind of got all a bit fluttery. Okay, you know the way ladies get sometimes. Do you know what I'm talking about here?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. You've got the dark brooding good looks. Okay, yes. Some of the girls there get a bit wibbly wobbly as well. Is that a weird thing to live up to? The kind of, because in a way it's a bit of a cliche, of course, the Latin lover kind of thing.
No, yeah, you just, I just do what I do. I don't know. I got no control over that.
Yeah.
If it happens, great.
Okay, but you're not, a bit more seriously, you're not actually from a showbiz family at all. I mean, your parents weren't in that kind of line of work at all.
No.
They were both lawyers, is that right? Yeah. So when you announced you wanted to be an actor, were they pleased for you? Was that something they liked?
Not
or would they...
really. They thought it was a fad. They thought it was going to pass. And I just, but you know, looking back, you know, acting, there's something about acting that you have to do in a lot of jobs. And being a lawyer is not that far away from acting. You have to convince a jury sometimes, whatever you do, but you have to convince people. So I think there's maybe a line there, a follow through.
And did, who objected the most? Was it your mum or your dad who objected the most to you?
Well, my dad and my godmother. My mom passed away when I was 9. So when I decided to become an actor, it was both my dad and my godmother. They both said, you know, it'll pass, you know.
You're kind of, I don't know whether the phrase seems a bit old hat now, but method acting. You came up with that kind of by Stella Adler and those from that school, from that direction.
You know, it was all by chance. I was on my way back to San Diego, and someone gave me a phone number to call an agent, and I went to see the agent to get represented. And she said, "Hey, listen, you live in San Diego." I was going to school in San Diego. You know, I'm not going to represent you, but if you want, they're giving a scholarship in a school called the Stella Adler Conservatory. I had no idea that she was who she was. She was she's one of the 4, you know, the main acting teachers in America that comes from the Russian teacher Stanislavski, and it's Stella Adler, Meissner, Strasberg, and she taught Marlon Brando among other people, and you know, I ended up getting a scholarship there.
I would guess in a movie like the one that you have coming out here in a couple of weeks' time, is this Che Part 2. It's the story, Benicio's been working with the brilliant director Steven Soderbergh to tell the story of Che Guevara's life. Right. A remarkable life, a remarkable man, and 2 remarkable movies as well. I mean, I thought Che 2, which I just saw this week in preparation for meeting you, a remarkable film, and it stayed with me, and I think it's going to stay with me for quite some time. I imagine, though, probably not the easiest sell to get money for a movie about a guy who helped a communist government take control from a corrupt regime backed by the Americans, and here you get presumably you make it with American money largely, or?
No, we actually made the movie with French and Spanish money.
So the Americans still haven't forgiven him?
Yeah, they haven't.
He's clearly someone who you admired.
I admire a lot of things about him, yeah. I might not be on the side of for capital punishment, but I do admire I do admire many things about him that are relevant nowadays. But you have to understand that Che Guevara happened in a time where, let's say, in Mississippi in 1963, an African American could have not voted.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a very, very different times and very violent times. So it's a portray, it's a historical endeavor, if we can say that.
How have they reacted to it in other parts of the world? For example, in Cuba itself, where you have Castro, who was a contemporary, who was a kind of brother-in-arms with Che. Presumably he's seen the movie, and I think you met him, didn't you?
No, I met him during the research. And I had a brief meeting with him because I had to leave, and we decided to talk more in detail about Che Guevara because, you know, Fidel was Che's leader. And the next time we went back to Cuba, he had fallen ill. So I didn't get a chance to really sit down and talk about Che with Fidel Castro. But we travel legally. You know, there's an embargo between the U.S. and everything that's Cuban, and we cannot travel as Americans.
You can't go directly from America.
You can't go directly, you know. But we got a permit, you know, from the government to go as, you know, interchange, artistic interchange of some sort. So we traveled to Cuba and we were able to do research for this movie.
It's a very powerful movie. It's a two-part film, of course. It's Che 1 and 2, so together it's about 4.5 hours.
4.5 hours, yeah.
Part 1's already been out. Part 2 is out, coming out in, I think, 2 weeks' time. February the 20th here in the United Kingdom.
Right, and I think that they'll play both parts back to back, what we call in America the road show. I think they're going to do it for a week, so that way you'll get to see what we set out to do.
I'd like to see them together on the big screen because it's an incredible experience. It's a remarkable film.
Thank you. Cool.
And but it looks, it's not a date movie. You know, it's not a rom-com.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, hey, that's not a problem.
Whoa. It could be. It could be. It can be.
Maybe.
It's a date movie.
Hey, how about we do Che Part 3 with you and Jennifer Aniston? There you go. Make it more, give it a happier ending.
That's an idea.
Okay, let's have a look at a clip. This is Benicio in Che Part 2, which opens here on February the 20th. Incredible film. Remarkable. It's a remarkable film.
Thank you.
I recommend it. You know, it's a really different but very powerful experience. I've never been to Cuba. I tell you what, though, I have a kind of, you know, it's not a good thing to encourage people to smoke, but I do like a Cuban cigar occasionally. I don't want to show off, but you like one too? Well, I bought one of mine from home, which I will gladly gift you if you would wish after the show.
Well, okay. Well, I got my own too.
You carry them with you?
Yeah. I do have a. Well, mine is a Monte Cristo. Yours is a Cohiba. Give it back.
Well, some of us don't have to overcompensate in the cigar. Okay, let me ask you about the other movie. You finished another movie since then,
right.
And it sounds to me like it couldn't be more different. Because that's obviously a very personal project. It's about, you know, a real story and real experiences. This new one is a fantasy of sorts, isn't it? We actually shot it here in Britain.
We did a remake of The Wolfman.
The Wolfman. The Wolfman. And is that you, Benicio, under that makeup there?
Yeah.
Wow. But I get the feeling you're a fairly hairy guy anyway. No, but are you not? You look like you got a bit of hair going on there.
I don't know. Not really.
No?
Not at all. I shaved yesterday.
Yeah. I can see the wax lines on them like that.
Yeah.
But I get you fairly hirsute, I imagine, aren't you?
The what?
Hirsute.
No, I don't.
You're not?
But I do in the movie.
No, but you're hairy.
No, just in the head.
I bet you're hairy.
No.
I bet you got hairy back.
Are you trying to get me naked like
No.
you're trying to get Tom Jones naked?
Surely you've seen me work.
Yeah.
I asked point blank.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And are there transformation scenes? Do we see you turn into the beast?
That's the whole bit. But I haven't seen the movie, so I can't talk too much about it besides, but I'll come back and talk about it if you want me.
I would love you to. Do you do a howl in the movie? Do you have to do a Wolfman howl?
You know what? I kind of fought it a little bit. I didn't want to stereotype the Wolfman, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Some of us know.
Yeah, okay. You're not going to do the howl then? No.
No, I just fought it. I fought it. I didn't want to stereotype him.
What if he was just clearing his throat? How would that sound?
Well, he's part man, so we would have to make this decision here. I don't know. It's like.
Oh, that's pretty
There
good.
you go.
Would it sound at all like this, Benicio?
That's it.
That's the original
That's it,
Wolfman
that's
right
it,
there. Benicio, I'm a big fan of yours. I tell you what, another movie I love Benicio in, I'm sure you'll remember this one, The Usual Suspects. Remember Usual Suspects? Wow, what a performance in that. Great cast, great
cast,
film.
great cast.
Was it your idea? Was it the director's idea, the kind of mumbling, the way your character speaks and that sort of...
No, it was my idea. You know, you have to understand that when I got that part, I got the script, and you know, I had met the director and the casting director, and I got this role, Fenster, and I looked at the script, and I died on page 37. So I found out, like, you know, I talked to the writer, who I became very good friends with, and the director too, and I said, well, does it matter what I do? And I'd seen that movie, the Dick Tracy movie, and I remember falling in love with Dustin Hoffman's mumbles.
Yeah.
So I just did my mumbles, you know, impersonation of.
But it's great because, you know, even though you're not in it all the way through, it really stays with you.
Yeah, it worked. I guess, you know, you're only as good as the actors you're working with, and you know, we're working with great actors: Kevin Spacey, Kevin Pollak, you know, Gabriel Byrne, Stephen Baldwin. It's a great cast. Pete Postlethwaite. It's a great cast, a great group of guys, and we just had a good time. Yeah.
I could watch that one again and again, but I'm pleased as well. I really love Shay. You know, it's such a bold project to embark on. I think, especially, you know, with, I know cinema goers, their taste being kind of like fairly easy to predict these days, and for someone to stick their neck out, and it must have been arduous to make, I'm sure, because the guy suffered in real life, and I get the feeling you guys suffered making it.
We suffered, yeah, we did. Well, you know, it took, from the moment Steven Soderbergh, the director, Laura Bickford, the producer, and myself decided that we were going to try to tackle the idea of making a movie about Che Guevara. It took about 7 years. Wow. But you know, you gotta study the history of the man, of the country. Growing up in the States, you don't know much about Che or the Cuban Revolution, and that leads to getting information about, you know, the history of Central America. And, you know, why do it? We just felt like, you know, it's good to have stories out there and have, you know, that show both sides of the coin. You know.
Well, you know, it's a great achievement, and you must be very proud of it, I'm sure.
I am.
Well, congratulations, and I hope everyone goes to see it, even if you wouldn't normally go and see it. And it's right, you know, it's not actually a date movie, despite what it says, but you could go on a date, and then you could just, you know, yeah, but just go on a date with someone who you don't want to sleep with that night.
Talk.
Hey, Benicio, how lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Benicio del Toro. You're going to stay for time. Excellent. Thank you.